the first point that I want to talk about is the fact that we've all heard about the talks of privilege in the recent times. You know, whether it's white privilege, whether it's economical privilege, we've all heard about that. Something that we all have in common is the fact that we have the American privilege, which is the fact that we can get hurt. Whenever we talk, we don't disappear like a lot of people do from the countries that we came from. When we talk against the government, we're able to do that. I can go online and write whatever I want against the president, and no one's going to knock on my door, and I'm not going to disappear. And that's a privilege, and that's something that we should definitely use. Because of that privilege, we're able to shine light on a lot of issues. And that's exactly why we need to be heard. When you're in the politics game, or when you're a corporation, all that matters is your image. Your image is everything. With that being said, if you're able, as a person, to call them out on something that they've done, then they will answer to you. Because they want to look golden in front of everyone. For example, the simplest thing, if you ever have a bad product from a company and you tweet at them, they will reply to you. Because they don't want that tweet getting retweeted. They don't want to be seen as inadequate. And that's important. And that's something to keep in mind when you're gauging how powerful a voice that you have. Secondly, when you speak about something, you shed light on it. Especially as the fact that we live in America, something that helps us a lot is, because I can speak on any topic, I can shed light on almost any topic with no issue. So there are people who are disappearing, we can talk about them. We can make sure that they're never forgotten. And when they're never forgotten, that means that the governments that have made them disappear, the governments that have committed atrocities, will know that people are working for them, will know that their image is not what they wanted. And that's very important to keep working on that issue. We always need to shed light on a lot of these social issues, social, economical issues, especially as Americans, especially as people that our voices are heard. A lot of us, thankfully, are very well educated. In America, you have many platforms to be heard. And by talking about things, that's what's very important. Also, we have to take a stand on things. Not as Muslims, not as Arabs, not as Iranians, not as anything, but as humans. If we don't take a stand on a lot of these issues, the stand will be taken for us. If we don't voice what our opinions are on a lot of these issues, an opinion will be made for us, and other people will hijack what we stand for. There's something called the vocal minority. The vocal minority is what you see on the TV. Those are the terrorists. Those are the ones going on TV saying that we should harm people. Those are the people going on TV saying that we should make America great again. Those are the vocal minority. If you allow the vocal minority to continue and you don't speak out, they will just make your opinion for you. They will speak for you, and you don't want that. You want to represent yourself. You want to take a stand, and you want to be heard. And the biggest thing to be heard in America is by voting. By show of hands, how many of you guys are registered voters? I was hoping for more people. How many of you guys actually voted? Awesome. So, I don't know if you guys have ever met with your representative or your senator, but the moment you say the magical words of, I'm a voter in your precinct, they will want to meet with you. Voting makes a huge difference. In 2000, it was Bush versus Al Gore, and they were fighting for Florida. Florida, they needed the Electoral College win. Bush won Florida, not by that many votes. He won Florida by 300 votes. 300 some votes made a difference. 300 some votes made a difference for Iraq, made a difference for Afghanistan, made a difference for a lot of countries that we invaded afterwards. When you have a mentality that your vote does not count, that's a problem. Because it's not one person that thinks that their vote does not count. It's you, it's someone else, and it just propagates, and it grows. When you have 1,000 people saying that their vote does not count, then it obviously counts at this point. It makes a difference. And especially now, when there's a Syrian refugee crisis, and a lot of politicians are going out and saying, we don't want these people in our communities. You're part of the community. You should call your representative, you should write to your representative to let them know that as someone who's part of the community, as someone who votes for you, who has the power to end your career, and you do, that this is what I want. These are the things that I want you to talk about. These are the things that I want you to work for. And they will answer. It's very important to know. Because being a politician is a career at the end of the day, and they want to keep their job. And they're not going to keep their job if their customers are not happy, and the voters are their customers. So especially for next year, 2016, we have a presidential run. I recommend everyone to sign up for voting and to actually go out and vote and educate yourself on the topics that are being voted in. Because what's going to happen in the next few years is that if you care about social justice issues, we have a Supreme Court that's opening up. We have about 2 to 3 positions that are going to open up for a lifetime. And if you care about the future of this country and the future of issues within the country and outside the country, you have to be a player within the country. And that leads me to that third point, which you have to be a part of society. There's a problem that we see, which is we only care, there's a lot of people that only care about the issues that sound like theirs. We only work on issues for people with names that sound like ours. That's problematic. Because it's a big world. We all have our own problems. You have to think it this way. We're all in little boats and we're all sinking at this point. So we all have to work together to try to make a big boat and just hopefully we make it to the end. There's this great poem written during the Holocaust by a pastor. He says, "First they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me." And that's the sad reality of the situation. Especially as Arabs, especially as Muslims, Iranians, we're an outcast group at this point. We're the new them. There's always an us and a them, and we're the new them. If we do not work with other minorities, if we do not work with other groups that are trying to fight an oppressive system, they're not going to help us. We're not going to reach any point by just being to ourselves. That does not help us. We're currently part of a society, and we should go out there. We should interact with other people, work on other issues, because one, that grows your understanding of the issue. 2, it builds up allies for yourself. And 3, it presents the Islamic image in a much better light than anyone could do just saying it on TV. I can tweet 1,000 times that not all Muslims are terrorists, but a tweet isn't going to make a difference when it comes to changing someone's mind. But when you work with people, when you go on the street, when you're talking to people, educating people about who you are, and the fact that you're willing to help them, not because of Islamic duty, but just because of human duty, that makes a big difference. That changes mentalities, and that's exactly what we want. We want to have people to say, to fight for us, to defend us when they hear someone saying something racist, or they hear an injustice, they stand up. Because empowerment, it's a trickle effect. You have one person that starts talking, he educates another person, he educates another person, or she educates another person, she educates another person. That's the way it works. We cannot have ignorance end at ours, and only at our point, and only hope that because I'm educated, that the cycle of ignorance will end. That's not how it works. Just because you know it's ignorant does not stop it from going to someone else. And we need to fight this ignorance. If we don't fight the ignorance, the hate, the racism, the violence will continue. We still have people that think that an American is a certain color, that an American is a certain religion. And we need to change that. We cannot change that if we stay within our own little bubble and don't allow that bubble to expand. And we got to be careful. It's not just grow a bubble and lose yourself, but represent yourself and what you stand for as that bubble grows. And that will be the most beneficial for your society, for your personal society, as well as a society at large. And that leads me to my fourth point, and this is the discussion point that I want everyone to think about. What can we do other than the things that I talked about? Personally, I've worked with Amnesty International for the past 4 years. What we do is we educate people, talk about humanitarian issues, make sure that we shed light on issues. There are many issues that we work on that take years to fix. My professor, who's been with Amnesty International for 40 years, is still working on some issues. That's the sad reality of the situation when you're trying to fight an oppressive system. You're not on the really powerful side. It's a small step that makes it win. And when it comes to that, when it comes to the small steps, each step matters. So if we have a person saying that their voice does not matter, or that a petition does not change something, or that writing an email or calling a representative does not change something, it's not only that one person saying that. It's multiple people. When we have multiple people, the group grows, and that's when it makes a difference. That's when their voice is taken. So personally, I work with a secular organization, no religious affiliation, to work to try to shed light on issues that are happening. If that's what people are comfortable with, do it. If there are other opinions, other ideas, let's talk about it. Because my ideas for things that work, thank you so much. My ideas for things that work for me. We all have a different path on how to help people and what is best for us in our community, in our society. Where I come from Dearborn and Wayne State, Amnesty International works phenomenally at Wayne State. Would it work somewhere else? That's the question. And we cannot have a cookie cutter idea or a mentality for every issue. For every issue, we're going to do this and then this is going to work out. We need to be able to work together, work with different cultures, different belief systems, different ideologies, to be able to really expand our bubble and touch on these points. You good?
Yeah.
All right. To be able to touch on these points and change our society. If we don't do anything, the violence will continue, the racism will continue, and the people disappearing in our home countries will continue. There are stories that are atrocious. 140,000 Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar lost their passports like this. They are no more citizens of their country. People disappear from Saudi Arabia. We don't know what happened because the government says, well, too bad, so sad. If we allow it to happen and we don't talk about it and we do not shed light on the issue, these people will be forgotten and these governments will do whatever they want to do, and that's very problematic. That's how oppression continues. And every year as Shia, we go and we represent Imam Hussein and we say, Labbaik ya Hussein. If we really want to live up to that and we want to represent ourselves, our Shiism, our ideology, we have to go out and we have to fight these oppressive systems, even if it looks like the odds are against us. Because the reality of the situation, you're not the only one fighting. There's a lot of people on your side. There's just small steps to get you there. So my question to you is, what do you think works in your community? What do you think doesn't work? What questions do you have, or why do you think it won't work? Let's say you don't think a petition works, or you don't think calling your representative works.